Greetings to everyone on my channel. My name is Jimmy. I really hope that you will not forget to subscribe to the channel before watching the video. And so, let's get started. Story 1 from user Sleepy Conscience. A Dell computer. I got an Inspiron laptop for college. The damn thing was the shortest lived computer I've ever had. Right out of the box, the CD drive didn't work. The USB ports often wouldn't work, and you'd have to restart. It just constantly had problems, and after about 2 years got so slow, it was unusable. Keep in mind I was just using this thing to surf the internet, listen to music and write papers. I never put too many programs on it, and its hard drive was never more than a quarter full. Eventually I put a very light Linux OS on it, and that worked decently, but I ended up just getting a new computer and giving the Dell away. What's funny is my best lasting computers have been from crappy companies. My longest lasting PC, I have a Mac from 1995 that still works, was an e-machine we got for free with CompuServe. It still works fine. My longest lasting laptop was a Gateway. Someone told me Gateway had sold their name and what they were passing off as gateways were really e-machines. That was supposed to be a bad thing, but given my previous experience, I thought it would be all right. That one lasted 7 years before having catastrophic failure that won't even let me load Windows anymore because it can't detect the hard drive. Story 2 from user Money Manager. Panago Pizza. Ordered pizza there before. Put chicken on half the pizza, pepperoni on the other half, with everything else on the whole pizza. It came, was delicious, nothing was wrong. Next time we go to order pizza, we log in and use their reorder function. We needed 2 pizzas, so this time we just doubled the order instead of getting one of chicken and one of pepperoni, as it was easier to just tick 2 rather than build 2 whole new pizzas with their online ordering system. Both pizzas came, and each pizza was 1/2 everything we wanted with pepperoni, and the other half was just chicken, tomato sauce, and the crust. So we essentially got a whole pizza of nothing but chicken, tomato sauce, and crust. We lose it laughing at how silly of a mix-up it was. Like really? Not even cheese? We weren't upset. We figured we would call the guys and explain what's up, and can eat the halves that were correct until another comes. So I call them, am very polite, and explain what happened. I asked if he was willing to send us 1 pizza, as half of the order was technically correct, and we just want to be fair. The guy flat out refused to correct the order, stating that is exactly what we ordered and therefore what we got. So I start running down the list of questions and comments, such as, "We used your reorder function on your site, and this is not the pizza we ordered last time. When you received an order for 1/2 with nothing, not even cheese, just chicken, did you not consider it was an error and try to contact us?" With every single reply being, "That's what you ordered, that's what you got." So at this point, I'm no longer thinking it's funny, and straight up tell him, "This is obviously a mix-up. We are not that incompetent that we would order a pizza with only chicken. We enjoy your pizza, and only want to correct what was mistaken and be fair. But this kind of treatment that I'm an incompetent fool is enough to lose our business for good. What do you say?" And of course, "Whatever man, Kaya." So I hung up on him. Never ordered again. I'm not really upset over the loss of money, as I'd pay $20 any day of the week for a huge flag to appear over a business's head informing me never to do business with them, and I can afford the $20. It's those I know who are on tight budgets, who feed their families as a treat with pizza nights, and $40–50 is a lot for them, and this would them over. Story 3 from user Serenity. ASRock motherboards, bought an x87 model new off Newegg. It died a little over a month after receiving it. RMA'd the board to ASRock. Not only did it take them about 3 months to send the replacement board, they did not supply a single shred of feedback during the whole process. "No, we received the board." "No, it'll be about X weeks as we evaluate if we can repair the board." "No, we found that it could not be repaired. It'll be X amount of time to get a new one." And "No, we have shipped the new board, you'll get it soon." Just complete silence, even with me sending them emails after the first and second month, asking what the situation was. Oh, and the whole process had to be done through my friend who owns a retail computer store because they wouldn't accept a consumer RMA, and Newegg doesn't allow returns or replacements 30 days after your order is placed. I sold the replacement they sent me on Kijiji and bought an Asus version instead, dump ASRock. I'd rather go through putting in a new board and be out about $60, the difference between what I paid for the Asus and what I got back from selling the ASRock, than have to ever deal with that company again. Story 4 from user deleted. Hostess used to make a variety pack of a dozen cake donuts, plain, powdered sugar, and chocolate coated. They weren't good compared to real donuts from a shop, but they had their own charm, especially along with large quantities of coffee. Last time I was in Walmart, there was a big end cap display of a similar product from Sara Lee. On impulse, I bought a box. The next morning, I made coffee and remembered, I have donuts. As per tradition, started with a plain. Didn't expect it to be quite so plain. There was a vague taste, but nothing resembling the flavor of baked goods. Put that aside, tried one of the powdered sugar. Once again, unflavored, just with added sweetness from the sugar. Totally lacking in that cool, powdery mouthfeel of the Hostess product. Maybe the chocolate will redeem all. Nope. In place of the thin, waxy chocolate coating of the Hostess, Sara Lee has smeared their donuts with a sticky, gooey substance that leaves the fingers looking like the toilet paper ripped. Despite the aggressively brown appearance, basically no chocolate taste was detected. For the first time in my life, I threw away fresh, technically edible donuts. Never again. Story 5 from user Blurry. Bose headphones. Father bought a pair of QC2s when they came out, but were promptly put into storage for some reason. I dig them out a year later, still new in box, and the ear cups had cracked, plastic had warped and cracked, and internal components had come loose. We take the set to our local Bose store, who flat out refused to repair any of the broken parts, even after we offered to pay. We decide to simply tape the warped plastic and bought replacement parts off of eBay, which solved our problem for about 2 months. Next, the left ear cup snapped off, and a follow-up call to Bose reconfirmed that they had no interest in any sort of customer service. So we simply glued the ear cup back into place. Then the right ear cup snapped off a few weeks later in multiple areas, rendering the set useless. Finally called the manager of the Bose store and got our best support yet, a nominal $10 discount on a brand new headset. Needless to say, we have no motivation to spend large sums of money on cheap plastic and essentially non-existent customer support. Story 6 from user deleted. Proactiv skincare products. I had a horrible reaction where the lids of my eyes were red and my skin was flaking off. It also made my skin really dry and wasn't making my skin healthy at all. I called the company to cancel my orders, and it was pretty painless, to be honest. But what I didn't know was that they didn't cancel my subscription, and when I found another month's worth of product in my mail, I immediately called again. This time, I was on the phone for about 2 hours, going back and forth between the representatives until I finally got my service canceled. However, I had to pay a cancellation fee and for my latest shipment of the stuff. I'm still pretty butthurt about it. Granted, it wasn't too terribly expensive. It was probably $65 after it all went down. But I never expected to argue with people over the well-being of my body. Story 7 from user Smagjus. Anything from Rawcat. I bought a cone mouse and thought it can't be that bad for this price. Well, this optimism lasted until I unpacked the product and was greeted with a pretty bad smell. I thought it would go away and plugged it in. Despite my first impression, I liked the look, especially the lightning. Then I tried installing the driver, which apparently was not compatible with firmware version 1.0. Fine, so I downloaded the corresponding update. The update simply crashed. I rebooted and it crashed again. Ran it as admin and got another crash. So I was already convinced that I would send it back, but at least I wanted to try it to give a detailed review. I tested it for about 8 hours and didn't have any other complaints. Then I noticed a rash on my right wrist. 2 hours later, I also started to get a headache and feeling nausea. I immediately sent the mouse back. Story 8 from user Ignore My Typo. Smartwatch. Started off with a Fitbit. I was having trouble sleeping and was hoping a Fitbit would help, along with an increase in my exercise tracking. It worked. It worked well, but the more I used it for sleep and judging sleep, the worse my sleep got. When that died, I decided I didn't need a Fitbit replacement. I had already stopped wearing it for sleep, and my sleep was getting better, and I was not longer waking up anxious for a score. So I bought an Apple Watch. So many cool functions, none I actually use. My phone is with me 24/7, and I can't justify the cost. I wear reading glasses, and it's a pain if I'm out and about to look at what notifications just came in without having to take out my glasses, put them on, and by that time, the notification is gone. I could just pull out my phone with a much larger screen. Plus, the battery life just sucks. I've decided when this dies, I'll just get a really nice traditional watch. Story 9 from user deleted. All GM cars. This situation applied to the GMC Acadia, not that I owned one, but my dad owns one. A very common issue that GM has acknowledged and refused to fix for free with the 2016-2019 model year Acadias is the shift to park message showing every time you shut the car off. Basically, there is a chip in the shifter, which is supposed to detect if the car is parked, and after 60,000 miles or more, this chip fails and the car is unable to detect that it is properly in park. It was very difficult for us to figure out because the battery would never shut off, and we found out that we have to flick the button on the shifter that allows you to shift gears every time you turn off the car so that the message goes away. One time my dad forgot to do that, and the car battery was left on overnight, and the battery died. He tried jumping it, and was all sleepy-headed and up, and put the jumper cables on wrong, and fried his battery, so he had to get it towed for a replacement. The issue persists, and there is a few known fixes, but as for the actual chip, it's near impossible to fix, because there is such a wide number of replacement chips available. But it is hard to narrow down which one is the correct one. The fact that this is a defect on the vehicle, and it is GM's fault, and they refuse to fix this for free, is astonishing to me. This reflects really poorly on behalf of GM. Story 10 from user Jump88. Tesla. I've owned almost 30 cars, and my 17 Model S is the only car that I actually regret buying. It was also the most expensive car that I've ever owned. Sure, the tech features are cool, but I spent $115K on a car that leaks when it's raining. I was also out of town for a month and left it plugged in. The 12V battery died, so I was locked out of the car, and the charge cable was locked in place. It was literally anchored to my house. There's a backup mechanical release for the frunk that allows access to the 12V, but the cable snapped. It took 3 months to get this resolved. I was literally on the phone for hours with the closest service center while they watched YouTube videos to try and figure out how to help me. I trash you not. I had a 2019 Range Rover. The keys stopped working when it had 450 miles. When they removed the headliner to replace the sensor, they discovered a massive water leak in the rear hatch. A new headliner had to be ordered from the UK. It arrived 4 weeks later and took 2 weeks to install. They shattered my windshield while installing it. Then the suspension issues started. Also, all the screens on the dash would stop working on a whim. It ended up being repurchased via Lemon Law. I had a 2018 Audi Q7 that was flawless until hitting 15K miles, when the whole pre-sense active safety system had a meltdown and was malfunctioning to the point of almost causing several accidents. Then it was throwing codes that indicated the entire airbag system was inoperative. It stayed parked for a few months until it was bought back. I've bought another Audi and another Land Rover since then, despite the issues. But you know what I'll never buy again? A Tesla. Never in a million years. It was my dream car for a long time, but as they say, never meet your heroes. Thanks to everyone who watched to the end. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.